This content was created purely for entertainment and informational purposes. The creators of this vlog do not endorse drinking and driving, debauchery, underage drinking, public intoxication, speeding, street racing or any other form of delinquency. I'm just a guy, with a drink, talking about cars. Please don't take this too seriously.
Back once again, it's your boy, the Fat Man, the Africanized Honeybee, the Car Guy Blog 05 at gmail.com, guy at 05Carl on Threads, at 05Carl on Instagram, at 05Carl on Facebook, the word zero, Z-E-R-O, the number 5, fifth, the word car, C-A-R. Coming to you solo. Today is Boxing Day, December 26th. I'm American, so I don't actually celebrate Boxing Day, but I like the pun because of the subject I'm going to discuss today. Flying solo, May and I are enjoying our respective families during the holiday break. She and I had a really good recording session right before the holiday. That content will be out later because I'm not going to do any editing over the break. But let's see, a couple of things I want to discuss. First and foremost, I caught the first episode of What If. I really liked it. I like Jeffrey Wright as the narrator. I like the fact that they take characters and places from the MCU movies and just kind of go off on random tangents. I think that's a well that they can go to a whole bunch, especially if they're only doing 30-minute episodes, because they can do little short stories that are just random and weird and go odd places. And hopefully we'll see some of the sort of, not only like the what if stuff from the comics, but some of the divergent alternate universe things that we've seen in other Marvel media, weird pasts and weird presents and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that series continues on, especially with it being animated. They can do a whole lot of stuff with that. Other things I wanted to discuss. Jonathan Majors. Boy, oh boy. And hence my thumbnail image, boxing, Creed 3, He Who Remains. So, Jonathan Majors out at Marvel. I get that. While I was initially hoping for the best and rooting for him, the simple fact is, anytime you're involved in a domestic violence incident, there's going to be, that was me knocking on wood, there's usually going to be some sort of fallout. And we'll set aside political Hollywood this and black man that. We'll just say it what it is. You can't be seen, especially seen on video, having violent encounters with your spouse, mate, life partner, significant other, girlfriend, side piece, whatever he, she, or they happens to be. Having witnessed firsthand some forms of domestic violence in my life. I mean, I'm almost 50 years old. I've seen a lot of stuff. We've all seen some form of domestic violence or domestic disturbance one way or the other in our lives. And so having had a firsthand spectator seat to some of that kind of stuff, there's not a lot I can say other than, if your relationship is toxic, get out or get help or both. And unfortunately, this bit him right as his career was really starting to get going good. And Jonathan Majors is an incredible acting talent, but he's gone and that's that. So from a storyline point of view, I would probably want to see the He Who Remains, Kang, Immortus, Victor Timely character recast. And I know there was a lot of controversy. There was zero controversy about Terrence Howard becoming Don Cheadle, right? I mean, it was a thing. It happened. Nobody cared. Very few people cared. When Chadwick Boseman died, it was a really big deal because we had grown attached to both Chadwick as an actor and that particular rendition of T'Challa So a lot of people had really strong feelings in both directions. I was more on the side of don't recast. There's already a comic book history of other people carrying the mantle of Black Panther. Just let's do the Shuri story arc and move on. Not everybody agreed with me on that, but I think the way that the movie was handled, the way Ryan Coogler handled that movie, was probably about the best thing he could do with it, given the path that he chose to take, which was we're going to mourn and we're going to get over uh, T'Challa, Chadwick, and we're going to move on with the concept. So I wasn't mad at that. Um, you know, um, with Thunderbolt Ross, William Hurt, and Harrison Ford. I'm okay with that. It's a slightly different situation. Although William Hurt had appeared in several movies as Thunderbolt Ross, he was not really ever the central character. He's always been sort of an associate character. It's almost kind of like if you recast Black Widow or I don't know, Nick Fury. There was some space there where either one of those characters could have been recast, and there probably wouldn't have been a lot of hubbub. Um, I'm okay with them moving forward with Harrison Ford. With He Who Remains, Kang, Immortus, Scarlet Centurion, Victor Timely, whatever variant you want to call him, um, that is tricky only because of the level of Jonathan Majors' acting talent. I think there are actors that can fill that part. I think they would bring a different but probably equivalent kind of energy to the role. You're not going to be able to duplicate what Jonathan Majors did, but I think you can bring a different kind of energy and match his performance in terms of his intensity and his variations, but just with a different kind of energy because you're a different actor. So whether it be Yahya Abdul Mateen II, or some other one, he's the first one that comes to mind, even though he's already done a bunch of DC characters. I would not be hurt if he jumped over into the MCU. I'm pretty sure he could pull the part off. It would be a different interpretation, but he could do it. Um, Otherwise, I think there's some other people out there. There may even be an unknown out there that could just step into the role and we'd be like, wow, he really nailed it. Of course, there are a lot of people that just say drop the whole Kang story arc. I'm not in favor of that. I think this is more of an audience issue than it is a story issue, which is to say the general public has just gotten bored with the comic book concept. They don't want to see any more of the PG-13 beginning, middle, end teaser MCU type movie, which is sad to me because to me you could do this forever and it wouldn't bother me a bit. 2 or 3 movies a year now to the end of time, and a couple of TV shows, and I'd be just fine. I mean, it is what it is. But I understand where the center of the market, the sort of the mainstream America, 18 to 34, whatever target demographic, just isn't interested in seeing this stuff anymore, or at least not in the numbers, not in the numbers that are going to generate you $1 billion. Now, look, I don't know if the studio was expecting this, but I like to think there are people at Disney smarter than that. You're not going to get $1 billion movie every time you go up to bat. That's just not realistic. So the idea that some movies do better than others does not bother me. From a production point of view, yes, they probably don't need to be spending $300 million per movie anymore. It is what it is. These movies are special effects and CGI heavy, and in order to get the superhero effects, sometimes you have to do that. But from a business point of view, there's no reason why they can't continue as long as they keep their production budgets in line and lower their expectations as far as each one of these movies making $1 billion global. It's probably not going to happen unless they get China back, and I don't think they're going to get China back. So um, I'm okay with that. Recast Kang, keep it moving. we'll see what happens, because I know they're a company and they have to make money. But if they were making content just for me, I'd say stay the course, recast it, and keep doing what you're doing. What else did I want to cover? Zack Snyder. I don't care. I'm not a Zack Snyder fan, and the fact that the critics seem to have had their fill of Zack and his Zack-isms is what it is. If his fans like it, again, that's that thing about, you got the diehard fans of the auteur, and then you got the mainstream market. And it seems like maybe the mainstream market has had their fill of Zack Snyder, and only the diehard fans of his work who were going to see his stuff no matter what, maybe they're the only ones on board at this point. But to me, the concept of an R-rated Star Wars is just a stupid concept. It's sort of like the concept of the R-rated comic book movie. These properties, whatever you want to say about them, and I'm 50 years old, but these properties are for kids. My best years as a Marvel Comics reader were between the ages of 9 and 16. So why would you take that content that's specifically targeted at a preteen and tween kind of audience and then try to upscale it to make it R-rated and hard and gritty, when the vast majority of the source material is not of that ilk? Yes, I know Frank Miller wrote some gritty stuff, and there were a couple of Claremont stories in the X-Men era that I read that were kind of bloody and gory, but for the most part, X-Men comics were mostly bloodless. There was some death, but there was not a lot of, even with Wolverine running around slicing and dicing, they rarely showed distinct panels of just, him eviscerating other human beings or mutants and blood and guts flying everywhere. It's just not, you don't need that to make a movie. And while I can appreciate that there are people who are fans of Deadpool and Venom, the reality is, to me, Deadpool and Venom, they came along around about the time I was finishing high school and starting college, or maybe I was in high school. At any point, they really became popular characters. McFarlane wrote Spawn, so maybe a little bit before Spawn became a thing. And I just wasn't into the quote unquote hard R kind of comic books. To me, that particular mismatch of product never worked well for me. So it wasn't a thing for me then. If that's your thing, fine, so be it. I think there will be some movies that fill those roles, but to me, that is a child's genre, and it needs to stay aimed mostly at children. Otherwise, that's it. I would say happy first day of Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, happy Boxing Day. I'm sure I'm leaving something or someone out. Happy Festivus, whatever you got out there. Enjoy your holiday season. Have a good time. Enjoy your family, your friends, your loved ones. And we'll be back in 2024. There will be some more long form content. There will be some more shorter projects. And as the weather warms up, I will get back into more automotive content. Still be some drone stuff too, because I'm well rounded. And I want to say to my subscribers and listeners, thanks for sticking with me. I know we've been through a lot of transitions with this product, and all of you may not be the listeners that I started out with, and that's fine, because we all have things that we like and we don't like. I listen to a whole lot of wrestling podcasts. Well, I'm not going to turn around and turn this into a wrestling podcast, because that's not my area of expertise. I watch wrestling as a fan, yes. No, I don't even watch wrestling as a fan. I listen to wrestling podcasts, mostly nostalgic in nature, as a fan of the older product from the 80s, not necessarily what's going on today. And I'm kind of the same way about cars. There's a particular era of motorsport I'm really into, but because I also like to drive cars and work on cars, it's sort of an all-encompassing hobby for me. But things have happened in my real life that have caused me to have to veer onto other content, because I've used up a lot of my legacy stuff, and I really want to start from scratch with new videos and all that. Not going back to my well of grainy standard definition videos from 20 years ago. All of that to say that keep checking in. The content's going to change and adjust and grow as I change and adjust and grow. But I plan to stick with this for a while. So if you like what I'm doing, stay with me. If you don't, that's fine. I understand. Um, I'll check you out in the new year. May will be back soon, and we'll get back to doing our thing. Enjoy your holidays, and we'll see you soon. Out.